Hello everyone, in this video we are going to solve a problem sum of multiples of 3 or 5. So the problem statement is as follows. For a given n, find the sum of numbers that are multiples of 3 or 5 up to n. For example, if the n value is 10, we want to find the sum of all the numbers which are multiples of either 3 or 5 leading up to the number 10. So the output has been given as 23. As the numbers 3, 5, 6 and 9 are the multiples of either 3 or 5 and they are less than 10, so the output is the sum of these four numbers 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 9, and that is equals to 23. Now let us have a look at the algorithm. Now the sum of multiples of 3 or 5 up to n is the name of the algorithm. The input we are taking is the integer n, and the output is the sum of all multiples of 3 or 5 up to n. So we consider two variables. The sum variable is equals to 0 and the I variable which starts at 1. The while condition we have taken is I less than n, and inside the while body we have added one more condition to check whether the number is a multiple of 3 or 5. So this modulus operator, the percentage, is the modulus operator and it computes the remainder. So for example, we have 10 percentage 3, that is 10 modulus 3. When we divide 10 by 3, we get the remainder 1. Similarly, the answer of 10 modulus 5 is 0, as the remainder of this division is 0. So this condition, if this condition satisfies, then it means the I is a multiple of 3, and I percentage 5 is equals to 0 satisfies if the I is a multiple of 5. So this OR condition works accordingly. If the number is a multiple of 3 or 5, then we add it to the variable sum, and after each iteration the value of I is incremented, and finally the sum value is returned. Now let us trace this algorithm using one small example. So this is the algorithm we can see here, and for the tracing we have made this table which contains 3 columns. One is the I, value of I. The second column is the condition I percentage 3 is equals to 0, or I percentage 5 is equals to 0, and the third column contains the value of sum. So the I value starts at 1. We check if, and we have considered n as 6. So we first check this condition in the while loop, 1 less than 6. So as this condition is true, then we have to check the condition of the if statement, that is 1 percentage 3 and 1 percentage 5. So 1 percentage 3 is equals to 0 is false. 1 percentage 5 is equals to 0 is false. Hence the whole expression becomes false. So we do not enter the body of the if statement and directly increment the value of I, and the sum value remains as 0. Now I has become 2. We check 2 less than 6, that is true. Then 2 is not a multiple of 3 and is not a multiple of 5. Hence the condition is false and the sum still is 0. I increments to 3. This time this condition 3 modulus 3 equals to 0 is satisfied. Hence this whole expression by the definition of OR becomes true. Hence the if condition becomes true and this value of sum gets changed. The value of sum becomes sum plus I, that is 0 plus 3, that is equals to 3. Now I becomes 4 in the next iteration, and it enters the while loop once again, and we see that 4 is neither a multiple of 3 or 5, so the if condition is false and the sum value doesn't change this time. Once again, for 5, similarly, 5 is not a multiple of 3, but as 5 is a multiple of 5, as 5% 5 is 0, we get the condition as true, and the sum value changes to 3 plus 5, that is equals to 8. And finally, for the next iteration, I becomes 6, 6 less than 6. Now this condition becomes false, the while condition becomes false, and the interpreter comes out of the while loop and finally returns the sum value, that is equals to 8. That is the desired output. So let us now try to code this problem. We have got the input statement n. The variables sum and I has been initialized. So this problem is the sum of n numbers problem. We are just going to make a small modification so that only the multiples of 3 and 5 are considered for the sum. So inside the while loop, we are going to add one statement, the condition for checking if the number is a multiple of 3 or 5. We use the OR keyword of Python for this condition, and inside this if condition we compute the sum, and iteration has to be made each time the loop ends. So the increment statement is outside the if body, and finally the sum is printed. Now let us execute this program and check the output. So if we take n value as 10, the answer as expected is 23. The multiples 3, 5, 6 and 9 have been considered for the sum. So that was the execution of the program. Now let's see what further implementations we can do based on this problem. Now the same problem can be implemented using a user-defined function. Instead of writing the computation as the main program, we can include it into a user-defined function, and the function can be called after taking the input and passing it as the parameter to the function. So it involves concepts like function definition and function calling. The next problem which we can explore is, instead of calculating the sum of numbers, we can calculate product of n numbers. That can also be further implemented into multiplication tables. And also we can think on how modulus operator works, whether we can use decimal values, whether we can use negative values in the operands. Please give it a thought. So thank you. That's it for this video.